Hi everyone, this is Joy for Spellbinders. My projects for you today are two cards, one using the Tulip Trio and the other one using the Deco Bloom die sets. Now these are meant to look like stained glass, which I think is so pretty. So this is the Deco Bloom die set, and you've got these two larger pieces. This makes a 5x7 card. So you've got your outside frame, which has a ton of detail, and this will cut out around that detailed frame. Then you have some flowers with some leaves, and the coordinating outside die, so it cuts the intricate pieces and the outside part. So here you have that smaller rectangle piece die, the insert, the round insert, and the piece that has all the beautiful detail. So I'm going to take those two solid pieces, the smaller inside rectangle and that kind of oval piece, and I'm using some birch wood cardstock. I really wanted to add some wood elements to this because it's so pretty. Also, let me share with this is the new die cutting plates for the platinum. I have the platinum 6 from Spellbinders, and it's all glittery and it's so pretty. And there's also a 6x6 cutting plates as well that are also glittery. So now that I've got those two pieces cut out, I'm going to come in with some white cardstock, lining up that centerpiece, and then that same rectangular frame that we just used on the wood piece, and I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. Once that's done, I'm going to take this all apart and pop out all of those little insert pieces, but you'll see here as I pull this back how intricate that outside piece is. Now I'm coming in with some more white cardstock and the two larger die pieces, and again running that through my die cut machine, pulling that back, and you can see how that frame looks as well. And then these just layer on top of each other, which is really what makes these so pretty. Now I've already die cut my flowers. I did the inside pieces, the kind of the floral frame there that I'm showing you with white cardstock, and then I also used peach and coral cardstock. I really wanted this to be kind of simple in colors, but the color scheme is really pretty with the wood, the white, and then these peaches and corals. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to glue this together. I've got a white 5x7 card base. I'm going to glue that largest back panel on, and I'm going to do the white on white. And then this smaller white panel, I'm actually going to adhere to the wood rectangle there using the Barely Art liquid glue. And then I'm going to use some foam tape for that centerpiece. Now, you don't have to put the centerpiece on. As you can see there, it already has a white centerpiece, and that is beautiful as well. But I'm going to use this wood piece, and then I'm going to glue these flowers together and adhere those around. What you could also do is some inlay technique for those open pieces, but I opted to not do that for this card. So for these flowers, I need green for the leaves, and then I need a coral or a peach for the other floral part of that little cluster. I'm going to glue down just the leaves to the green. This is barely green cardstock. I'm going to let that dry while I'm gluing my other pieces together. Then I'm going to come back and just trim out where the flower part of that little cluster is going to be. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. I'm using the new reverse tweezers from Spellbinders. These things are fantastic. They're really heavy duty and really hold your paper together. I have a pair and they're great, but this is like a really good pair. So now I'm going to take my scissors and cut away the flower part of this little cluster. I am leaving the green part that is already glued down for the leaves. And again, just removing the part that we don't need because we don't want green flowers. Well, you might want them. I don't want them. So now that that's trimmed away, I'm just going to come in with my coral piece and just using some liquid glue and adhering that. I'm going to do that for the other two little clusters of flowers and leaves, and you can see how well that worked. So once I'm all done with that, I'm going to adhere that smaller card panel to the center of that card base. And now let's glue down the flowers. I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere those down. Now for the word mom, I used the large die from July 2020 for the letters of the word mom, and I just die cut that from black cardstock. And I'm adhering down my flowers first, then I will glue down the letters because I do want those to overlap on top of the flowers. So I'm going to adhere down the letter M's first, and then I will come in with the O, and that will slightly overlap the two M letters and some of the flowers. So I'm using that Barely Art glue, just a little bit of that and the tweezers to adhere that down. Now I'm coming in with some coral liquid pearls, and I just thought this needed a little something extra to the outside. So you have all those little opening holes. So I'm just adding a little bit of the dots in those holes, and I really think that that added a ton to the outside of this card. It is so, so pretty. I also added a few little gems, some gold gems from Spellbinders, and look at how pretty that card turned out. Okay, so on to our second card. Now this is the Tulip Trio die. So the same type of thing, you have your outside frame, you have your inside frame pieces that fit, and this also has some tulip die cuts that actually fit on top of the tulips in the center. Then you have the other little die cut that actually fits on the outside corner pieces if you wanted a more intricate look. I'm not actually going to use that, but I will die cut a piece and show you how that works. So I'm coming in with some Distress Oxide inks, and I'm using Squeezed Lemonade, Kitsch Flamingo, Dried Marigold, and Cracked Pistachio, and I'm blending that onto some white cardstock. I really want this to have the stained glass look, so I'm just coming in with a bunch of colors and inking that up and blending them together, because I really want it to kind of really be about the backgrounds, even though this is about the die, but the backgrounds is what's really going to make this look like stained glass. So here is the Cracked Pistachio that I'm finishing up with. I'm just kind of lining up my die to make sure I'm getting everywhere inked properly. So I'm going to use the large square outside die that just die cuts a whole square. And I run that through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to ink up at the bottom because now I need to do that center circle. I'm actually lining up where the flowers will be to kind of have a general idea of where I want the colors of the tulips to be, and then the green at the bottom for the stems and the leaves. So I'm going to come in with that circle die and run that through my die cut machine. Now I'm using some black cardstock to cut out the whole intricate part of the die, so that's the inside piece and the outside frame. The same for the circle on gold mirror cardstock. And now that that's done, I'm going to adhere that gold mirror cardstock to my inked circle piece. Now, as you can see here, I'm actually leaving in some areas. So basically you can call this inlaying. I just didn't need to inlay it yet because the pieces stayed in there. So I'm inlaying the stems. So I'm keeping the stems to the leaves and the tulips in gold. So I'm going to adhere that down. And one of the stems is actually missing, so I'll show you. If all of your pieces were popped out, you're just going to add a little bit of glue in the opening and then add your piece in, and this is just inlaying. So there's the gold stems for that. And I'm actually going to come in with another piece of gold mirror cardstock that I die cut and lay that on top because I wanted this center piece to feel substantial. Also, I want it to hold some glossy accents that we're going to be adding to the leaves and the tulips themselves. Now I'm going to adhere this to the center of that black intricate die, and isn't that so gorgeous? And I love the black against that inked background. I'm going to adhere that down, and as you can see on the right side of the screen there, I did die cut out one of those little corner pieces. I'm actually not going to use that, but I'll show you what that looks like when you lay it on top, and it really is quite beautiful. So here's what that looks like, and you could just die cut 4 of those and lay that down, and it gives it just much more detailed, intricate look on those side pieces. But I really wanted this to be about the centerpiece, and I felt like that took away too much attention. So now I'm coming in with my glossy accents, and I'm just adding it to the leaves and the tulips themselves, not to all of the open areas. I'm using a pen to kind of move around my glossy accents. Normally I have a smaller bottle of this that has a detail tip, but it's really clogged right now and I didn't want to take the time to unclog it. So I am just using a pen to move around all of that glossy accents to get it into the corner, since the tip of this glossy accents bottle is really quite big. So again, I'm going to do that for all of the tulips and the 2 leaves at the bottom. And this is really going to give it the stained glass look. And isn't that so, so pretty when that's done? And you can see the difference between the glossy accent part and the part that does not have glossy accents. I'm using a sentiment from Tailored Expressions that says, "Let the celebration begin." It was already heat embossed with gold embossing powder. And I am using the Color Essentials Gems. This is the gold mix. I use the same thing for that first card. And I'm just going to add a few of those around, and they're already sticky, so that's fantastic, and that just makes your life a little bit easier. And I'm going to adhere a few of those down, and I did attach this to a white card base. This is a square card, and I think this was about 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I can't remember for sure, but it was something like that. So once I'm done putting those down, then you have this beautiful stained glass card. And isn't that so pretty? And just the die itself is so detailed. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.